Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So what I'm gonna do today, I will talk about the drive, momentum to grow your vision. So until now, we have seen how you can uh, write down your vision. Take it to the board of investors where you can pitch your vision. And let's say once that's all sorted, you obviously need to have a momentum to grow your vision. So what I meant by that is that, right, you need to have a strategy in place where you can grow your vision to involve your customers. Obviously, you're building this for your customer base, right? So, for instance, if I wanted to take an example of the app, right, about the app where a user can take a picture of a food, Italian food to begin with, and they can tell, what food is it, right? It doesn't matter which nationality of um, from, right? Doesn't matter the language. So let's say you're adding different language support as well, right? So if someone takes a picture, let's say Italian food, it tells you the kind of Italian food um, it is about, right? It could be a lasagna, or it could be a beef ragu, or tortellini, or whatever, right? So the few things you need to do, right, to attract your customers. First of all, you need to have a teaser video, right? As you can see from a trailhead, right? I like to teach from trailhead because it contains pretty much everything. But I'm gonna tell you from my experience, right? Because I run a company, I'm a businessman, so I've done most of the stuff. So I can tell you from my experience, right? Obviously, you need to have a teaser video, or like a YouTube video, whatever, right? And you also in olden days when my dad used to run a business, right? He used to take posters and to different places, and branding kind of stuff, right? It used to be a little bit different. I mean, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen today, right? You can go to a presentation where you can have your company posters, not a poster, right? A kind of yeah, kind of a poster which talks about the product you're gonna the showcase for that specific event, right? So that helps, and also you can also talk about it, right? You can give a presentation if you go to, say, a lunch meeting, or host a lunch meeting where your team is involved, and you invite a group of customers to be the beta testers, or to talk about the vision, right? Or you can also invite a customer to talk on behalf of you, or to give you feedback on behalf of you. So a lot of things you can do to grow your vision, right? Obviously, you just need to remember that you're doing this for your customers, right? And you want to sell your app. So obviously, your customers needs to be on board, right? Now, one thing might happen, right? Like, let's say it's your baby, right? At the end of the day, you came up with an idea, and you have a group of teams. Now, let's say someone might say, "Hey, I can take over that stuff from you. You can focus on other stuff, right? Let me run this, right? Let me run a campaign, and let me take care of it, right?" So it's okay to give control to somebody else, right? You might should not be feel offended, right? Oh, I'm gonna lose control, right? The biggest problem, right, in a business, I can tell you, right, from my experience, to have a trust on another person to do this for you, right? If you don't have that, it's going to make it very complicated. It's going to be a different equation altogether. So it's important to have a trust factor with the people you're dealing with. And that's the core foundation of any business, or for that matter, any employee-employer relationship. It's very important to have that, right? If you don't have that, then if trust is the biggest concern in a relationship, in an organization, right? That will impact your working relationship with your coworkers or with your stakeholders, and you will not be motivated to do your best, and which is not great for the business, right? So if someone says, "Hey, I can take over and help you," that means trust that person, right? They're doing for the business, right? It's not about you or about me. At the end of the day, it's about for the business, right? You have an idea, you want to get that idea out, now you want to campaign it, right? Let someone else take care of it. So that's how it works. Um, and yeah, and a lot of times you may not get a good response from a customer, it's okay, because sometimes customers might have different expectation, or maybe they're not comfortable to be a beta testers, right? So a lot of things, a lot of factors could play an important role here. So you need to factor that, right? And the from my experience, right, running, like my father was in business, most of his life. My grandfather was in business. My grandfather was into agriculture stuff, right? And my father was involved in business as well. He used to be an employee, then used to do business as well, right? Um, we have a line, we had a lot of, family going back. It was really into business stuff. Um, so the one thing I learned, right, from all of the experience from my grandfather, from my father, is that S can hit the fan anytime in the business, right? Your business can be very stable and it can go down, right? Because of the mistakes you make, because of lack of attention you're paying to it, and the lack of trust. Lack of trust is one of the main reasons why most of the businesses go down, and the decisions were not made, keeping other people into consideration, and board was not consulted, and yeah, there is a very huge possibility that things can go wrong. So you just need a factor, all right? And okay, if the product is not successful, fine. At least you tried, right? And at least your stakeholders are on board with that. Yeah, you can work on your mistakes and you can move on. The things you learn from the failure and can move on, right? That's how the business is all about, right? Obviously, everyone wants to grow their business. Everyone wants to make a lot of money. Investors really looking to have a huge return of investment, which is great. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the main thing is that if you're really talking um, from a business perspective, right? At times you need to take a decision which may or may not work. Like for instance, Meta, right? Meta, Facebook, ex-Facebook, right? They hire a lot of people to work on the metaverse stuff. It didn't work. Mark Zuckerberg has to let a lot of people. Happens, right? That's just the nature of business. You can't predict the future, right? Although no matter how good you are. I mean, even Warren Buffett, he loses money, right, in his stock deals or other stuff. It happens, right? So that's one of the thing. You need to drive your momentum to grow your vision. So you need to try your best, to try all the alternative, give your best shot, and see how it goes. So that's all I wanted to talk about in this. It's a nice picture. it's, it's diving inside the ocean. That's cool. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about in terms of innovative solutions. So we nearly reached the end of this topic, and in the next episode we're going to discuss a different topic. I hope you guys are really enjoying this certification. I do get it right. I mean, this is not really a regular usual type of certification which you have used to in a Salesforce ecosystem, and this is interesting. It doesn't matter if you're a Salesforce consultant or a non-Salesforce consultant. I believe this certification is cool, right? It teaches you a lot of things, right? Many of you may be interested to start a company one day, right? So you will get to learn a lot of things from it, right? And so yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in this episode. I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Adios.